Okay, so I'm just doing a quick demo on kind of how to set your project up. Um, to start with, basically you can kind of see that I have this one set to 15 frames per second. I would recommend that you set it up to about 20 and then find your file size that you gave me in your tech brief. And I started with a white stage background, but you can kind of see that I have, several elements placed in the uh, main interface. Let me just kind of go down the timeline here. And you can kind of see how these kind of animate in. And these are all just symbols. These are all, if I look in my library, first of all, if I double click, I can find out what the name of the symbol is, but uh, you haven't done really brought any symbols yet, but I just want to find out what the name of it is. So if we go into the library, and I just take that out, I know that this is the symbol that's that because once I clicked on it, it says it's consumer AI. So once I import it into my library, where by going File, Import to Library, that's how we get things into the library. Whether it be a Adobe Illustrator file or a Photoshop file or a PNG or a JPEG, that's how we do it. We just file, import, bring it into the library. Usually put it in a library so I can have reference to it. If I import it directly to the stage, it goes right to the middle of the stage, so I really don't have control where it goes. So usually I'll just create it and then drag it to the stage. It's usually kind of the easiest thing to do. Um, but just to kind of explain how this was put together, this is Adobe Illustrator. That, I believe, is a, let me go back. Let me talk about this real quick. Right now I'm in editing, symbol editing mode. You can see that I can click on that. I can actually go in even deeper. You can kind of see that as we click, we go in deeper and deeper up here. But I'm going to go back to scene one because I want to kind of talk about some of these other pieces. So that right there is also a group, and it's called, let's see what we got here. It's a group, and it's called Airline AI. So I can go back. Let's see. Okay, so there it is right there. Basically, this was created with some type and a JPEG image. You can actually see, if I zoom in, you can kind of see that white border around there. Um, you really kind of want to watch that because um, I should have a transparency or an alpha channel on that, so that would go away. So I really didn't take my time to clean that up, but you guys should do that. Okay, and you can just kind of see that some of them are kind of independent, and that's because these kind of animate separately. The box comes on, and then the check mark comes on. So I made those separate so that they would do that. Some of the other elements, this is just text. If I needed to go in and edit that, I can do that. That's just using the text button. Right? And you can kind of see here, as further I go deeper, the more things I click, the deeper I go into my, call this the breadcrumbs. I'll go back to scene one here. Now let's just kind of take a look at some of the other elements. There we have, actually I did this whole background in Photoshop and imported it as a background. You can kind of see it right here. I'll turn it off and on. It's just one big image that I placed in the background, so that can give you a good idea, how to place a background to kind of give it, a look and feel. Also, real quick, I have 3 buttons, okay, and in the book, and so you how to create those buttons. Let me just zoom into those real quick. So you can kind of see I have 3 separate buttons here, okay? And you have one thing you need to understand is that these should be called or labeled a certain way. You can see this is pre_BTN. This is usually what we're going to use for script, so kind of watch that terminology or labeling or file description, naming convention. It's usually the name of the button and _BTN. Okay, and these can have states. If you look at the text, it will talk about up, over, down, and hit states. Also, I posted a video for that. So if you want your buttons to have reaction to mouse over and that kind of thing, go ahead and put those states in. And I would like to see those states for your milestone number for week number 4. So you can just kind of see the interface is just kind of put together with little pieces of stuff that I imported into the library and then just drug out to the stage. Okay, you'll notice that my timeline, I'm in quite a bit many frames, but that's because you can kind of see how everything kind of animates on. You can kind of see, here comes that. It's just um, a scale transition. Then that's a opacity, and then another opacity. So kind of see this is kind of simple, kind of um, straightforward kind of animation. I'm just scaling using opacity, and then I'll use some shape tweens or motion tweens for my movie clips to kind of give it a look and feel. But that comes a little bit later. Really what I'd like to see is, you animate something on like this for the intro, which would be nice. But I'd like to see your interface and kind of see where things are going to be placed and your typography and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of really where I want to be at the end of this week. Okay. So if you have any questions, just give me a call or email me. Email me is probably best because especially when it's a little later at night. So anyway, send me an email if you have any questions. Okay, talk to you soon.